name's Nehjat. I'm from Leeds originally. I moved here about 6 years ago to work for Maharishi. I feel like I can definitely express myself more here, not be singled out and picked out, because I think being in London especially, you do see a lot more fashion and a lot more different sort of other people thinking as well. I mean, you can walk down the street with whatever you want and people, I mean, they do bat an eyelid on he's wearing, but I do definitely feel more comfortable being in London, and I love that whole feel for the fashion here. I sort of think things are on the cycle. I think it's like anything, especially fashion. Fashion's on a mad cycle. I mean, those bright colours were in years ago, that whole feel of like the 80s thing, people call it new rave, which I don't quite understand what that means still a bit. I think it's because I'm in the 30s now and I don't quite understand that, because I think people look back at the 80s and think all the pop stuff's back in and this and that. I think back to maybe a good example for it is the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, for instance, for me, like from the 80s or even early 90s, should I say. Obviously with a lot of bright colours, and people are still sort of going back to those years and trying to keep hold of that as a fashion thing. And especially I think a lot of things for me is to do with like the music. I mean, I used to listen to like Thompson Twins and all sorts, and they used to wear bright mad colours, and I've always sort of held on to those colours myself, and I think bright colours make people happier as well. Different labels are introducing bright colours, so it makes people more into bright colours and not to be shying away from them. I grew up in like a West Indian and like Afro-Caribbean sort of area of Leeds, and I used to have lines and bleach coloured bits on my hair. I don't quite understand where I got my feel for. I think my parents used to be quite mad in the 80s and have bright leather suits made up for them and stuff, and I think it's sort of been passed down onto us to keep it sort of going in a way. I get spotted out for that nowadays. I think people know me as the guy who wear a bright pair of trainers or a bright jacket or a bright hat. I think it's quite nice to be not singled out, but recognised for that fashion. Or, I mean, I don't necessarily dress for the people, I dress for myself. If people don't like it, I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing, I think it was very much through basketball, because I used to play basketball at school. There was a big, massive team of black guys, and I was the only little Asian guy in that team of people, and everyone used to bounce to each other. And I think that, and especially when we were at school, that's when dance energy was on. We used to rush home, and I think it was a Tuesday afternoon to watch it. And obviously Normski used to do style scuffing. I think a few times he's shown different kicks, and that's when everyone was getting into the fashion side. But we used to travel to London actually when we were like maybe 13, 14 years old, just to get a fresh pair of kicks, which obviously weren't available in Leeds. People were going, where do you get them from? People were going, London, and nobody would be allowed to go. So I think it was definitely through sort of school and like basketball sort of stage, but again the dancing was a very big sort of influence for us. I mean, in terms of wearing dunks as well, I mean basketball, obviously dunks for basketball shoe, and it's like you're keeping hold of that sort of indoor sport, which has obviously been bigger in America as an outdoor sport, and that also turns into street culture and fashion in the street. People are obviously taking what they've worn in that and mixing it with their clothing and stuff, and what they're wearing nowadays. I think one of the ones I'm wearing now, the Hawaii's Aloha's, quite sort of soft one, I believe, but at the same time I've got a pair of like the Michael Lowe speed dunks, which I know the ones I've got was only about 25 pairs made, I believe. I could say I could collect, but at the same time, I buy them to wear, I don't just buy them to keep in a box. I think the nice things to look at, there's a few pairs I've never worn that I probably are worth like a fortune, which I probably wouldn't want to ruin the value of them, but at the same time, I want to sort of keep that as something for me, like a personal thing that I have.